What's going on, everybody? This is the Blockchain Backer bringing you the latest cryptocurrency news and analysis. And we've had a wild 24 hours over here in the cryptocurrency market, so we have a lot to talk about in this video. One of the most notable things going on in the last 24 hours is over here on the Crypto Fear and Greed Index. We are in fear as a market, as a sentiment, as a whole for the herd. They are in fear for the first time since way back here, back in September and October. So we've been in extreme greed all through November, December, and January. And now for the first time since October, the market is back in fear, which we could see right here. So the last time the market was fearful was way back in here. And if you remember correctly, at this time, one of the most popular things floating around there out there on crypto Twitter and all over the internet was that we were going to break down and do this all over again. I kept arguing that was not the case. We were going to go much higher, but that was a time period where everybody believed that the market was going to go significantly lower. And you can see how there was just this massive sudden drop off in sentiment that took it from greed straight down to fear. One of the things we pointed out here in this correction that took place on Bitcoin was that it was an ABC correction with a 702 Fibonacci retracement. You can see right here how it had fallen down, retraced exactly back to 702 right in here, then went on to capitulate down to the downside. That's when the market went into fear right away, and then the market believed that we were going to break much lower. So I think it's really important that we talk about sentiment in this moment, because now here we are, we're finally seeing this right here. I've been talking about how I think we're doing a 5-wave structure. We're in wave 4 right now with an ABC correction within wave 4, and you can see how wave 1 sentiment moved up, wave 2 sentiment moved down, wave 3 into extreme greed, wave 4 down into fear again, and I still think we're planning to do a wave 5 to the upside. Now you may be saying, if you're new to crypto or anything like that, you're saying, well, why do we care about what sentiment is like? Well, what happens a lot for a lot of new people in here is they try to find safety in what everybody else is doing. If you find a bunch of people that you know or respect are selling, or if you find a bunch of people that you know or respect are buying, or if everybody seems to be doing the same thing, in a lot of times in life, we decide that, hey, you know what? I'm going to do what everybody else is doing. I find safety in numbers. I don't want to be the lone person doing something stupid when everybody else is obviously doing this. I need to be doing what everybody else is doing, or else I'm just the complete dummy here. But that is not the way it works in markets. In markets, you want to be doing the opposite of what everybody else is doing, because the herd is always led to the wrong place. They're led to the slaughterhouse. Think of it as a herd of cattle. They are getting led to a slaughterhouse. So whatever everybody is doing is usually wrong. And a great example of that is back here when we dropped from greed straight into fear back in September. Everybody thought we were going to break down significantly lower here, but look, September 3rd through September 9th, here you go, September 3rd falls off all the way through September 9th, but that represented our bottoming area before it continued to move its way up, right? So here we are back in fear again for the sentiment of the entire market. I can attest to that being true because the comments of my videos are constantly fighting, constantly trolling, everybody thinking they're the smartest guy in the world. I even saw Anthony Pompliano's tweet this morning where he said, "Good morning to everyone except the people who are only on this website to be the reply guy with smart answers and pointing out exceptions to every tweet." I've also talked with other content creators who are dealing with the same thing. So the sentiment, it's no doubt about it, the sentiment is out of control right now. The emotions are in every which way, everywhere. Just a week ago, I was having people post on my comments saying, you know what, it's impossible that Bitcoin could correct and go and have a crash. We're in a new paradigm. Institutional investors are here. It's completely impossible for Bitcoin to crash, to now the sky is falling. And every time we have a moment like this, right, on my channel, we've gone through many of these time periods where you have extreme fear. And this is just fear, right? We've had prolonged extreme fear before. I mean, it's been really, really bad before. I mean, Bitcoin's up in the $30,000 right now. I mean, it's not terribly bad in this market right now, but we've been through a lot of this extreme fear and extreme greed before, and this is always a wonderful saying, and it's so much easier to say it than it is to practice it. It really takes a lot of self-control and a lot of learning of how to manage your emotions, but seriously, be fearful when others are greedy and be greedy when others are fearful. It's not the time to start going with the herd. When the herd has swung in one direction so far, one way, it's not the time to be with the herd. So I'm not going to tell you what to do, but if you find yourself in extreme fear right now, or you find yourself being toxic, or you find yourself frustrated and angry, you're doing exactly what the rest of the herd is doing, and most likely losing sight of the big picture of everything that's going on. That's what happens during every single one of these waves. When Bitcoin pulled back down in here, sight was lost of what was going on out there, that the dollar was falling, that we were printing money, that stimulus was coming, and that crypto was in a bull market. That vision can get lost again. But what typically happens is people get that vision back after prices break into new highs, right? They'll get extremely fearful, they'll sell, they'll expect lower. General public, general retail investors don't have a tendency to sell high and buy back lower. General retail investors have a tendency to sell low to try to buy lower. The pain has reached a certain threshold, they're done, they can't take it anymore, they're going to buy back when it's much lower because everybody else is saying that it's going to go lower, and so it must mean that it's going to go lower. Could it go lower from here? Sure it could, but is it likely? I would say it's less likely. I would say it's already gone down, right? The idea is to get out before it goes down. It's already gone down. So if you're going to sell after it's already gone down, well, good luck. When I look at this on a smaller time frame, I say, there's probably still one more little push to the downside. That's usually what we do see, that you come back up in here, and then we have one more kind of finishing move down in here, and that marks the bottom of it all. And that might be the point where it's just too much for people to take, and we're going to break down significantly lower for a lot of people's thought process, with us being in fear now for the first time since October. But it's always funny to me when I hear people say, we're going to break down much lower, our prices are going to break down, especially when they're forecasting that this was going to break down, or that this is going to break down much longer. Just from a big structure, like from a bubble structure, or from a market cycle structure, I have a hard time understanding how they come up with those things to say that, when it would just break a chart. I just don't understand. And if there's valid reasoning, that's great. But sometimes people will just say it's going to go down because it's going to go down. And that's just an emotional driven thought process due to fear. But if Bitcoin's going to have a major breakdown, I would expect that it would actually rise up from here, come up, then break down. That would be a more likely scenario for me if it was going to have a big pullback. And a lot of people who maybe don't own much Bitcoin are wondering, why do we have to talk about Bitcoin so much? At this point, it's clearly obvious in this market. Bitcoin is the leader. Bitcoin's going to tell us when the alt season is going to begin. And either the alt season is going to begin as we're going into here to do this fifth wave, or we're going to do this fifth wave, Bitcoin's going to fall all the way back down, and then our alt season is going to begin. So a lot of what's happening in this market right now is being dictated by what's going on over here with Bitcoin. The problem is that I have to combat a lot of the for entertainment stuff that people have heard, a lot of the conspiracy theories, a lot of the narratives that they have heard, and they've been bought into these other narratives that everything else matters in regards to utility and narrative-driven stuff that has been for entertainment purposes only. And I'm trying to tell you here on this channel how this market has always worked. And it's always worked with Bitcoin leading the way, and Bitcoin telling the story of when the altcoins get to take off. And so throughout the history of time, alt seasons have a tendency to all happen together. It's very rare that the altcoins will take off individually. They tend to take off all at the same time, including XRP, right? The Ripple XRP price chart. Every single alt season is when XRP has taken off. XRP has never had a bull run outside of an alt season. It has only taken place during alt seasons. So the thing we're trying to figure out right now, when is the alt season? And I know sometimes that's a hard fact for a lot of people to swallow. There's been a lot of information out there to try to, spin the narrative differently, but you could see the orange one right here. This is XRP, alt season, bull run, alt season, bull run, alt season, bull run. It has only had bull runs during alt seasons, and that's a cold hard fact, but we can use that fact to our advantage. And the thing that we can remember about Bitcoin going parabolic and being at these super high prices is that we haven't seen any type of alt season. And in each of Bitcoin's market cycles, as it goes parabolic, whenever the top is coming in, it's indicated by a massive alt season. So when all the altcoins start breaking out and going much higher is an indicator that Bitcoin's top is coming in. So while this market is in fear, this market is scared now for the first time since October. And who knows, there might be a little bit of a dip a little bit lower to make it even more scared. The thing that we know is that it's unlikely that the top is in for Bitcoin because we haven't seen any kind of alt season. And the most likely thing is that we're seeing an ABC correction in the fourth wave, which would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And alternatively, this could be wave 4 within wave 3, which would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, in which we're going to see wave 4 pull back down and wave 5 is going to go much higher. But either way, what we know is there hasn't been an alt season yet. The market is scared. The last time the market was scared, it was the bottom of wave 2. And when the market is fearful, it's time to be greedy. But when the market is greedy, it's time to be fearful. And I think a lot of people just kind of got that hard fact right there. For when it's greedy, it's time to be scared. And when it's fearful, it's time to be greedy. And a lot of people have watched this channel, right? Watched this channel for the last, since 2019. Bullish blockchain backer, bullish, bullish, bullish through all the fear, bullish, bullish, bullish. As these prices are now getting very high, you're starting to hear a lot of different kind of language coming out of me, right? Talking about getting ready for exiting, talking about getting ready. And the market is incredibly greedy in the big scheme of things. In the short term, it's fearful right now. I think that will change quickly. All the prices have to do is go set new highs and we're right back into extreme greed again. But the misconception that this market can correct, I think a lot of people are finally kind of seeing that right now. This market can correct, and this is just a small correction. But bigger corrections can't come. And I see a lot of comments in the comments section of my video leading into this saying that it's impossible for a correction to happen in Bitcoin at this point, but clearly it obviously has. And I still think, there's going to be one more little scare that takes place right here, taking Bitcoin down just a little bit lower before it finally works its way out. But one thing we always talked about during the bear market is that people thought we were dumb for buying down there. People thought it was going to break down, especially like we were just talking about right back there when Bitcoin was in that fear zone right back in September and October, right back in here. People thought we were dumb for being buyers down in there in this market and accumulating this market at that time. People are going to think the same thing when the prices are high. And we talked about that over and over again back then, that people are going to think the exact same thing when it comes time to sell, that you're just as dumb as you were when you were buying down at the bottom. But my goal in creating this YouTube channel, it was never to become some big YouTuber. That was never in my plans. I mean, I started my YouTube channel, I started putting out content because I thought, you know what, I think a lot of the stuff out there isn't quite meeting the expectations of what I have. Let me show exactly how I would want a YouTube channel to be. And it was crazy because it actually ended up blowing up. And I'm not sitting here to like toot my own ego, but I'm not here to be a super long-term YouTuber. That's just not the career path for me, the blockchain backer. The blockchain backer is a portion of my life. It may be an intermittent portion of my life. Maybe it's just between market cycles and whatnot. But this channel got really big. And I don't sit here thinking, how can I continue to keep growing my channel to much bigger things? And, what's my 5-year plan for the blockchain backer? What's my 10-year plan? Where's my retirement based on creating a YouTube channel? It's not like that at all. My retirement plan, my money that I'm going to make is going to come from the crypto market. It's going to come from me selling after buying through the bear market. And so the thing that is important for me for my channel is to make sure that I'm effectively communicating that to you when those price targets eventually get reached out and that I intend on exiting. And I fully expect to be called a dingus at that time, and that people are going to think I'm a dummy and think I don't know what I'm doing, because that's what they told me for the last year and a half. And it's not hard to see what will happen to my channel. I'm fully aware of what's going to happen, right? The prices are going to keep moving up and up and up, and eventually I'm going to be like, you know what? That's it. I'm out of this market. I am done. And what does that mean for my YouTube channel? What, I'm just going to come on here every single day and make videos, say, yeah, we're just bear marketing our way down every day, and I'm just going to keep talking about that every day for the next year and a half? No, I'm very well aware of what's going to happen to my channel at that time, especially if I sit here and say I'm getting out and I'm selling. What is the retail investor going to want to hear from their content creators at this time? They're going to want to be hearing that we're going to the moon. They're going to see so many people piling into this market right in here that they're going to be wanting to hear that we're going higher, we're going to $1 million, we're going significantly higher, and I'm going to be the one sitting here saying, nope, that's it, we're bearish, we're done. I'm very well aware of what that means for my channel. I can look to the future and see what that means. That's going to be very, very bad for my YouTube channel in general. But in the end, my whole goal of making this channel in the first place was just to try to deliver you honest information based on what I think. And in the end, this is going to be like a death blow to my YouTube channel. But if I can walk away from this market with a lot of money in my pocket, and knowing that a lot of other people walked away from this market with a lot of money in their pocket, I can live with that. I can move on to the next phase of my life. And you know what? The blockchain backer will likely return again during the next market cycle. But I think that would be years away. The good news is I don't think we're at the end of our current market cycle yet, and I believe that we're going to go higher. So while the market is incredibly fearful right now, it's not my opinion to think that we're done. And I'm sure there's some people out there right now thinking, no, blockchain backer, why are you talking about the end of your YouTube channel? And no, that's not what we're doing. Not trying to be a Debbie Downer. I'm just trying to tell you that I'm aware of what the consequences will be when the top of this market comes in and when I believe the top is coming in. And I'm letting you know that I'm going to communicate that to you, even though I know the consequences of it for my personal YouTube channel, that it is not in the best interest of my YouTube channel from a growth perspective to sit there and say, I think it's done. That's for YouTubers and for content creators. It is much more beneficial to the channel to continue to say we're going to keep going up, because I was here in 2017. I watched all that stuff happen. I know what goes on. And in the end, the most responsible thing I can do in trying to effectively communicate to you through the whole bear market that I thought we were going to go up, that when the day does come that I think, you know what, that's going to be it, I'll tell you, I think that's going to be it. Hopefully it reaches out to the targets that I hope that it gets to. And I think people are hoping even more that it massively exceeds the targets that I expect. And you know what? I welcome that as well. By all means, please go up higher than what I expect. But I just want you to know that when I think that top's coming in, when I think this market's finishing up, I will tell you, even though I know it's bad for my channel to say that from a growth perspective, because most people will want to hear that it'll go much higher. And right now, with the correction that we're in, I do not believe that the top of Bitcoin is in. I do not believe that this market cycle is over. And I do think that crypto is going to go much higher still. So, as this market is currently scared and in fear for the first time since September and October, just remember the last time we were scared and fearful. So, in summary, the thing that I am expecting is I do expect Bitcoin to find its bottom relatively soon if it hasn't already. And then we will go on to set new higher prices. And then we're going to stick to what I've expected based on what we saw back in 2013, that after a big rise, we do see a big fall. So this will give us a lot of information at this time. If the alt season begins in here, this is probably going to be our finishing blow. Otherwise, the thing that would be going on here is that we're having a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to go on to finish this market. So this would be wave 4 that we're in right now, within wave 3, leading to a deeper correction. The speed of this correction, I don't know how long it would take, but this would mimic what happened back in 2013. It does seem very likely to me. Alternatively, we're in 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5 is coming in to finish it off, but we'll see the alt season happen. So you kind of have to pick and choose, what would you rather have right now? Do you have a longer time preference and you can wait longer? So like if we don't see alt season take place right in here, it's a good sign for the long term. It does mean that Bitcoin's going to have a really big correction that comes. The altcoins will probably get punished with it. But from a long-term perspective, it means we have a really big alt season coming later. Or if we start seeing alt season right now, that means this market could be wrapping itself up pretty soon. So I'm indifferent on which one it'll be. But if we don't see an alt season take place as Bitcoin starts getting up here into these 50s and lower 50s, mid 50s, high 50s, just somewhere in this area, and then we see Bitcoin pull back, it's not going to scare me for the big picture. The big picture to me still is going to be that we're going to go on and reach up into the 70s and 80s, and that our alt season will take place in here. So a lot of information is going to be coming here after Bitcoin finds this bottom and moves its way up. I do not think this is the top of the Bitcoin bull run. I talked about it in yesterday's video. If this was the top of the Bitcoin bull run, it would be the smallest Bitcoin bull run in the history of all time. So I think we are just finishing up in ABC. We're going to go on to set another higher wave. So, all right, this video got pretty long. I hope that you guys like it. I know that there's a lot of fear out there, but I just wanted to kind of show exactly what I'm seeing in here, and that I don't think there's anything to be scared of right now in Bitcoin. So that's my personal opinion, and I'm sticking to it. But if you guys are looking for something to do over the weekend, of course, you guys can check out my website over here. It's bcbacker.com. I think I have 27 videos on here. It's my course where I do deep dive into the previous Bitcoin bull runs and the previous altcoin market cycles, tying all that information together so you can kind of see the things that I'm seeing going on in this market. I'm still sticking to exactly what I've always seen in this market and operating that way. And I have operated through the whole bear market all the way up until this point like this. I've got my exit plans on here. I've got a lot of tips and tricks. And if you want to learn about different charting stuff and indicator stuff, I have that on here for you as well. And I try to explain it in an easy to understand way, just like I do here on my YouTube channel. And you can check this out over here on bcbacker.com. And of course, throughout the weekend, you can follow me over here on Twitter at bcbacker. If there's price action happening, I'll try to keep active over here on Twitter. So follow me here at bcbacker. And I want to thank you guys so much for watching my channel. I hope that you have a fantastic weekend. Thank you so much for watching. If you could, please hit the like button, hit the thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can be notified of when I create new content and when I go live. As always, this is not investment advice and I am not a financial advisor. But if you ever need a pick-me-up or a little bit of reassurance, just remember that the blockchain backers got your back. Have a good one.